Oh, there it goes. Okay. Oh, weird. Okay, I am here, but I am in the dark because we had a power outage not too long ago. And so I don't want to turn on too many things and have them going off and on in case the power outage should happen again. But if I should suddenly um, go off stream, that is the reason. We are having weather conditions here that are causing power outages, strangely enough. Which is weird because when it's like hellfire and brimstone kind of weather, we don't get a power outage. But then when it's like, drizzle rain and stuff like that, then we get power outages. And it's like, interesting. Okay. Um, oh, that's why it's like that. Hold on. I'm in the wrong place. Here we go. This is where I should be. Okay, let's scroll down. Why is this showing this twice? At 8:47 and then at 8:02. I didn't send this email twice, did I? No, I don't think I did. Okay. It's just being weird. So today we are going to write or finish chapter 1 and possibly start chapter 2. I have a schedule set up for myself on making sure that I finish this book by December 22nd. That's the deadline that I put upon myself, and I want to make sure that I exceed that deadline, if you will. If I finish before then, that will be even better. But December 22nd is the latest that I want to be working on this because that's when I'm in my Christmas/New Year's vacation mode, and I don't want to be working on finishing up the novel during that time off. Also, I have next week off, and because I have next week off, I may have some days where I'll be able to stream more and for longer periods of time. We'll see. I have to plan my vacation first, so. I love oatmeal. So delicious. Hold on 1 second. I need to do a few things off stream. just blocking off my time so that people can't monopolize it. And then okay, I think that's all I wanted to do. Well, not all I wanted to do, but till Hey. When you forget how to spell someone's name. I did spell it right. That's probably not right. Okay, so I did that. What else did I want to do? I'm trying to like do everything in like an hour because, like I said, I'm just concerned that there might be another power outage. Hold on, I just have to check something that my wife just messaged me about. No idea. Okay. She said no rush, but I'm already here. Fucking MailChimp, man. A pain in my you know what. Okay, let's see. Yeah, you can. Okay, let me go. Oh, jeez. That was what I meant to do. It's a whole freaking thing. Okay. Oh. So much going on. I can't get started. Oh boy. shutting that down. Looking away from that. Turning that away. Okay, I did open this, though it's the wrong document. So let's do this one. Okay, let's do. Oh no, I did have this one open. Just gotta open it bigger here. Let's move it up a bit. I think that's good enough. Yep. I thought this one was the one that was showing, but it wasn't, so we can close this. Oh, I did not stream this Friday. I'm trying to remember why. I think I wasn't feeling well. Yeah, I wasn't feeling well. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't, like, hardly speak. Okay. Well, do I not have my timer on? Let's rectify that immediately. Okay. Let's see what we can do in the next hour. I'm putting an hour and a half, but I need to head downstairs soon. excuse me. Okay. What? Did I? Okay, sorry about that. I just realized I've been talking all this time and I was on mute. So let me go back to the beginning of what I was saying. So this chapter is going to end with the woman, the stranger, revealing that she was chased by a monster. Son of River realizing the signs and recognizing them, knows that what she was really chased by was a skinwalker, and his children slash niece. So he's got two children who are, I think I made them around the age of like 10 or 12. And then he's got a niece who's older. She's like 16, 17 years old. So he sends her, the niece, to go and fetch Uncle Tox, which is not her uncle, and Son of River also isn't her uncle, but she thinks of them as her uncles. He sends her to go get him and have him round up the troops, and while she's gone to do that, he is going to recollect and retell the first time that he I'm not sure if it's going to be the first time he heard about a skinwalker or the first time he encounters one. I think it's going to be the first time he heard about it, because the first time he encounters one is going to be sort of like the first time that Harry Potter encounters the I can't even remember what they're called, but they're the things in the black shrouds and stuff that basically take criminals to prison. I can't remember what they're called. Something with a P. It'll come to me. But anyway, so like the first time he encounters them, he passes out, right? And so it's going to be a similar situation with the first time that Son of River encounters a skinwalker. He's going to pass out, and there's going to be a reason for that, which is not going to be revealed, I think, until the end of the book, but the end of the first book, basically. But there's a reason why that happens, and so I don't want him to think about that until a bit later. But so chapter 2 is going to be about the moment when he hears the first storytelling about a skinwalker, and it's going to be at an evening meal with the entire tribe on, Tycor Mountain. And it's going to be one of those moments where I'm going to get to introduce a lot of characters at once. Dementors, thank you. I don't know why I thought it was with a P. Yeah, so the first time that Harry encounters them is going to be a similar situation to the first time my main character encounters a skinwalker, in that he's going to essentially pass out from the encounter. And again, like I said, there's gonna, like, the way there was a reason why Harry passes out with them, there's gonna be a reason why my main character passes out when he encounters a skinwalker in skinwalker, like, appearance, because a skinwalker doesn't look like that all the time. In fact, they spend most of their time looking like a human. Let's say they spend like 80% of their time looking human, but then the other 20%, 10% of that, they look like what a skinwalker would look like, which is a really creepy, evil looking thing. And then the other 10% would be when they look like their animal spirit, their spirit animal, which, sounds really nice and lovely in theory, but it really isn't, because their spirit animal is usually a pretty vicious, ferocious type of beast. So it's not like a pretty butterfly or a deer or something like that. It's their spirit animal is usually a snake, or in this case, what's the spirit animal of this one? Hold on, because I think I have it here. A wildebeest. I believe that is her spirit animal, which is they usually typically kill wildebeests for food, or they tame them, or they control them to ride upon, because I've changed slightly what wildebeests look like in my world. They are actually more horse-like in height and size, so that humans can ride on their back, and they use them as opposed to horses to travel on the mountain that they live on, etc., etc. But anyway, so this chapter is basically going to end, like I said, with my main character sending his niece to go get the troops. So I'm thinking of them like the Avengers. So it's, bringing all of the crew together who basically were responsible for bringing down or defeating the skinwalker that was living amongst them back when he was a teenager. And so, the running theory is that for the last 30 years they have not had that. They have been out of danger, everything's safe, everything's good. However, it seems like there might be one present again, that one of them has come back. And so he needs, the original crew who were there 30 years ago to come back from their regular, normal, everyday lives in order to do what they did before and defeat the evil villain. And so that's how I'm doing a past timeline and a present timeline that are going to be very parallel in many ways to each other, because he's going to be recalling, reminiscing, and remembering his past encounter with the Skinwalker and how they came about defeating it, for the past timeline. And then for the present timeline, how they are going to figure out who it is, where it is, why it's here, etc., in the present timeline, so that they can defeat it once more. But there's going to be a hitch in his plan, because this Skinwalker knows him and knows of him very well. And one of the things that this Skinwalker does is kidnap one of his children. So it's going to have different stakes of danger than what he had when he was a teenager dealing with all of this. And so we're going to figure out, how did they defeat them in the past, and then what happens in the present timeline when we move into book 2, where there's going to be a rise of the Wendigos, which didn't happen the first time around. It was just them having to defeat a fairly small army of skinwalkers, but they're pretty vicious on their own, so they don't typically need to have an army of anything. Like, they can kind of slaughter, and one skinwalker can kind of slaughter an entire army of, people. So how were they able to defeat this little army of skinwalkers that they discovered? It wasn't just one, it was many. And then in this instance, in the present tense, they realize in the present timeline that there really is just one skinwalker out for revenge, quote unquote. And how that one skinwalker who is out for revenge is going to call upon an army of Wendigos to help her in exacting her revenge against the main character. And that's going to be book 2, which I'm really excited about, because Wendigos are kind of going to be my version of zombies, where a Wendigo is a person who is deceased being brought back from the dead, and they dig themselves out of the ground, and they are now under the mind control of whatever skinwalker just raised them. And only skinwalkers can raise Wendigos. No one else can do it. So if someone raises a Wendigo, like, that they're a skinwalker, because they're the only ones who can do it. And this one is powerful enough to raise like thousands of Wendigos. Sometimes a skinwalker isn't strong enough or powerful enough to raise more than like maybe a handful if they really needed to or wanted to. This one is going to, after these 30 years of being silent and in hiding, if you will, has been honing her strength and her abilities and her power so that she is able to raise up like a legit army of Wendigos that are all the people who have died. And so that's going to be really cool because he lost his parents, both of them were killed, and so he gets to see them, but they are Wendigos and they are, you know, like zombies. So it's going to be a difficult situation, and then there's going to be his best friend like this. So we're going to get to see all the people from the past timeline who clearly get killed as one way or another before the present timeline, so they're not there. So hopefully the reader will pick up on that, where there are some names and some people present in the past timeline that are helping to, you know, take down this skinwalker. And then when he calls the troops together in my present timeline, that they are absent from the conversation from the room. It might either be that they're dead or that there was some sort of falling out or whatever the case may be, and they are like not interested. You know what I mean? Like they fought it once. It was a terrifying experience, and they don't want to have to do it again. So there's going to be those two kinds of encounters, and I'm hoping the reader will be interested enough to want to know and keep reading to find out, you know, are they dead or are they just refusing to help again? You know, like what's the deal there? No, no. Oh, I need to come up with a name for this stranger, this woman, because I need to decide either she's going to be the skinwalker and he's not going to realize it, which is why I said he faints when he meets a or encounters a skinwalker in when they're in that form, because when they're a human they don't give off the same aura that they would when they're in their skinwalker form. So it's not like he can tell when one is present because, you know, he faints every time. uh and I that's why I want to explain the difference between when he encounters one and when he hears about one. And so that's why chapter 2 is like so important, because it's going to be when he hears about it for the first time, and he ends up having a nightmare shortly after he hears about it. It's going to be at dinner time when their elders, they have eight, no, five, I think they have five elders, and the head elder, Cloud, is going to be telling a story like she does every night. Their tribe is very steeped in folklore and storytelling, and their folklore and storytelling are real, true stories. They're not made up in any way. And so that night she decides to tell a story about skinwalkers. It'll be the first time that many of the youth who are present will hear about it. And there's a reason why she does it. It is because she fears that there is one present either within their tribe or within the vicinity of their tribe, like in the nearby village that is just at the base of the mountain that they live on. And so she just wants to make sure that the children or the youth there are aware of such a thing existing so that they have their guard up. So it's intentional that she tells this story, not realizing that telling this story is going to flip a switch or have such an effect on Son of River that he's going to end up having a nightmare, which is going to be more of a premonition, etc., etc., etc. And then, like, by Act 2, I think, is when he's going to actually encounter his first encounter with a skinwalker, and he's gonna pass out due to it. But in the meantime, he is going to hear about it. It's gonna, bring up these memories that he didn't know he had locked within him. He's going to go to Tox and talk about it, because his father is not there. So the only male role model or person he can really go to is Tox, and then I'll explain who Tox is, and to the tribe, etc., etc. So there's going to be all these things, and then in the midst of all of this, I'm still keeping, or I'm trying to keep, the moment where one, his mother is believed to have been killed in an attack, and two, his sister is assassinated, and he witnesses that assassination and he runs away. So those things are going to happen in the past timeline, which I'm still keeping in there. That was a storyline from the original. Like, this is the third or fourth rendition that I've come up with this story. The one that's been the most drastic has been including a past timeline and a present timeline. So putting a 30-year gap between the two was a new thing, but I still want to keep these new past timeline story elements, because they speak to his what's the transformation and the change that he's going to have to undergo, of anger, of feeling betrayed. When he runs away, he ends up being taken by what he considers to be their enemy tribe, and he's going to learn a lot of things when he gets taken by the enemy tribe. He ends up meeting a new friend. In this instance, when he runs away, Son of Oak is going to go with him, because I aged him down to be the same age as Son of River. So he's not running away by himself. He's running away with his best friend and his pet snake. And like I said, they bump into Leafandra, or Leaf, on the process, and then the three, or the four if you count the snake, get taken by their enemy tribe, and they get held prisoner there. They discover some things. Like, I wanted to keep that. I just added the fact that he's not by himself, but I want to keep why he runs away, where his anger is coming from, and make that very present in the story, because it's one of the main reasons why, in the present timeline, he's not with his tribe. It's his culture. Those are his people. So again, I want the readers to be questioning, why in the present timeline is he the owner of a tavern? Like, why isn't he with his children up in the mountain with his people? There's a reason for that. Even though he realizes that all the bad things that happened to his family was really had nothing to do with the tribe, but was very much a part of the Skinwalkers, plan at the time, he still has that and holds that anger. And so he can't, he makes the decision, one, to not do the ceremony of choosing, which is why he's still Son of River, and two, to not live with his tribe, and to not raise his children that way. So his children are going to behave and speak and act very differently, and even dress very differently than he did when he was their age and living in with the tribe, and that being his home and his family, and his way of life. But the one thing that he keeps, that he passes on to his children, is the folklore and the storytelling. So that's why by the end of this chapter, it's going to be them coaxing him and saying, Dad, tell the story again, because they love when he tells them the stories, even when he repeats it. And so they encourage him to remember and retell the moment when he first heard about skinwalkers, and that leads us to chapter 2. So I have to keep thinking about how to transition from the one timeline into the other and make it a seamless, obvious, parallel, necessary thing. It's not as easy as you might think, but I feel like I at least have that understanding for Act 1. I don't know if I can keep it up all the way through the entire book, but at least for the first 10 chapters in Act 1, I got this. Like, I know where I'm going and how I intend on getting there, etc. At least for the first 10 chapters. And I'm hoping that by the time I write those chapters, the rest will just be as easy as anything. Let's see. Oh, I need my map. I haven't had to look at my map in so long. Shoot. I'm not connected to my OneDrive, so hold on 1 second. But I drew a map like 5-6 years ago. Yeah, so I'm just gonna find my map of Stonehaven. Maps. Just gonna find the most recent one. Okay, so we're dealing with Gaspar right now, right? No, Ebonthorn. That's where all of so this story is taking place in the kingdom, I believe, of Ebonthorn. How do I confirm that? Hold on 1 second. Yeah. Okay. Because I did a mock-up map of what I needed it to look like. So the Tycor Mountains are actually the Tycor Mountain was a whole mountain. But during the Great Dragon War, it was split in half, and the mountains parted, and it created Actually, they were called the Kinnaman Mountains. What am I saying? So the Kinnaman mountain was split in two and separated, which created the Kinnaman Pass, which is a narrow passageway between the two mountains, which is a fairly dangerous passageway. Very few people actually survive. You're safer to go around, take the long way around the mountains. But in any event, there's two warring tribes. So one tribe is the Taikor tribe and the other tribe is the Varish tribe. So the Taikor tribe is on the half of the mountain that's in Nightthorn, and then the Varish tribe, unfortunately, is in the side of the mountain that's in Malathorn. So those are the two things. Then there's a river, which I believe I called it like the Wailing River or the Moaning River or something like that. There's this river, and then when they cross the river, which is what they usually do, they don't typically hang out in Nightthorn, nor do they, and by they I mean the tribe, nor do they go in the other direction to Prador, because Prador is a fancy place. They would stick out like a sore thumb. So when they come down off the mountain, if they need to make any trades or get any clothing or things like that they can't hunt, kill, gather, and make themselves up in this vast mountain that they live on, they cross the river and they go into a small town, a small village in Ebonthorn, and that's the kingdom that is most relevant. It's not going to be till like book 2 and even book 3 where we might end up in Malathorn for a little bit, for a hot minute. I want to give Malathorn its due, but it's basically where all of the criminals and bad elements and all of these kinds of people go to hide. So it's not a very pleasant place. And so there are 1, 2, 3, 4. There's like 4 kingdoms in this big vast like a continent that are divided 4 ways, and this mountain happens to occupy space in 2 of the 4 kingdoms. But what's so funny about it is, even though it occupies 2 of the 4 kingdoms, these tribes never actually or try to avoid entering either of those 2 kingdoms, because they're just a bit different. Ebonthorn is nice. It's normal. It's not rife with criminals and bad people like Malathorn is. And Nightthorn is usually where a lot of like military type people and like fight like Nightthorn is very military driven. Prador is a flourishing kingdom. That's where a lot of textiles happen and are made. They do a lot of trade to a lot of other kingdoms. So when Ebonthorn creates docks along their coastline, it's so that they can have Prador come, because Prador will not cross in through Malathorn or Nightthorn at all. So the only way that they do business with places like Ebonthorn or Gaspar or anything like that, they could go on foot, like with horse and buggy or whatever it is, and travel that way, which travel time wouldn't be any more or less than if they took a ship. But they usually just take ships. They have a huge coastline, so they will send ships here and there and everywhere with the things that they make. They also have beautiful everything that's there is made of like stone and beautiful wood and architecture. And they have a lot of schools are in Prador. So there's a lot of learning and education. It's very different than at least any of the kingdoms that you would find in this 4 kingdom thing. And then if you go through Nightthorn, it kind of curves down into Ashmar, and then there's Gaspar. And Gaspar was originally where I was going to start introducing Stonehaven to the world with my 6 book series of The Fifth Compass, which is weird. It's called The Fifth Compass, but it's 6 books. And that all takes place in like Gaspar, and then it travels up into Ebonthorn and all these other places. But I changed my mind about which series I wanted to be the first series. I decided to go with this one. So this one starts up in the mountains and then down into Ebonthorn and the small town that's there. And that's where this tavern is, the Iron Rope Inn. It's in a small town in Ebonthorn, and it's near enough to the docks where whenever ships dock there, if they dock like late at night or whatever and they don't leave till the next day, the men who work on the ships will go into the tavern, get entertainment, get food, get drunk, stay in one of the rooms that they have above the tavern, etc. So it makes pretty good money because of that, and they're the only tavern basically in all of Stonehaven that is as large as it is. It's pretty huge. It's massive because it's got like 40 tables on the main floor where the patrons can sit and eat and drink. It's got a huge stage, like think of like Moulin Rouge type of stage with can dancers. So it's got this huge stage. No, I'm not doing a 30-minute break. I'm actually just kind of talking out my story. That's a timer for how long I'll be streaming for. So that timer started at like an hour and a half. So I was streaming for an hour already, so I have a half an hour left. But yeah, the tavern is huge in my mind. Like I have a few images that I keep handy to remind myself how it's designed, where it's got the main floor with the bar, and then behind the bar there is like a speakeasy type of area where a lot of secret meetings between people take place because it's such a huge tavern and it's right by the docks. And different ships from different kingdoms, not just Prador, but from kingdoms all over Stonehaven, stop there to do or deliver any manner of things. Yeah, I'm taking a brief break, but I'm actually gonna start writing or get back to writing again in a few seconds. So if you want to do a write with me where I'm basically not gonna be speaking, that's gonna be happening in like 30 seconds. When I stop writing, I like to kind of talk out what I'm about to write next out loud with myself so that I can make sure it makes sense and it keeps making sense as I go. Because a lot of the times when I don't do that, I find myself stuck in a corner and I don't know how to get out of it. So so one of the things I like to do is say, okay, this is where I'm going next and talk it out. And then that way I can say, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, let me go write it. If that makes sense. Okay, so I'm gonna finish this chapter in the next like 20 minutes. It shouldn't take me all 25 minutes. Um, No, no problem. Yeah, I mean, I can tend to keep going on and I'll go like beyond the chapter one into like the third book, and I don't really need to go that far. But sometimes I feel like it helps me to know that I'm on the right path, and everyone should do that. Like even if you're just talking to yourself and you're not on stream, talk it out loud so that you can hear if what you're about to do makes sense. Because if you just do it in your head, it's not the same thing. Even like I said, even if no one's listening, you just need to talk it out so that you can hear yourself and say, "Yeah, that doesn't make sense, and here's why." Wait. Yeah. Cut. No, let's say slit your throat. Slit. Should she say where she was headed? Oh. Oh boy. I just heard a crash downstairs. Okay, that is chapter 1. 2036 words. Yes. I want to make each chapter between um hold on, I need to learn the spelling of some of these words so they don't get underlined all the time. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I want to make each chapter maybe somewhere between 2 and 4,000 words. I want to try not to go over 4,000. So that's the goal, at least for like my vomit draft, which is what I'm writing right now. Um, in the editing phase, I may end up extending certain chapters that are short, and then trying to cut certain chapters that are long. But at least for right now, when I'm writing my vomit draft, I want to make sure each chapter is at least 2,000 words. So that way it gives me something, a base to work from when I'm doing my editing. Oh, that's pretty good. Oscar, pretty good. I'm just getting my. Oh, God. I'm yawning so much because I'm cold. I'm just getting my sea legs back with writing a novel. I wrote 3 back in like 2018, 2019, and then I took a bit of a break. And at least from writing novels, I didn't take a break from writing. I wrote short stories, and now I am returning to writing a novel, but I'm doing it a bit differently. I'm going to be releasing this novel in serialized form. So starting in June of 2022, this novel that I'm writing right now is going to be released chapter by chapter every Sunday. So I think it's like Sunday at noon is what I plan to do. So every Sunday afternoon, I will be releasing a chapter, and then for the length of the book. So this one I think is going to be somewhere between 30 and 35 chapters. I'm assuming. So it's going to be anywhere between 90,000 and like 120,000 words. And that's going to take about, 32 to 35 weeks for me to release week to week. And then while that's releasing, I ideally will be writing the second book while I'm releasing these chapters and so on. So I have the whole thing plotted out or planned out for myself. To be a traditional author, oh heck no, I don't have time for that. I don't have patience for that. I enjoy writing, and I don't want to get down into the minutia of having to find an agent and do all that BS. I don't really care. um, I want to just write, and so that's what I'm doing. So I'm just gonna be writing, and I mean, it's what I love to do. And so I'm writing, and I'm going to be releasing, and I will be self-publishing the book after the 32 or whatever, however many chapters release in those weeks. So I'm going to take those 32 weeks to release it, and then allow the readers to make comments and things about things that they like, they don't like, any errors they may find after I've done my 3 phase self-editing process. And then I'll make those adjustments and corrections and etc. I'll do my final edits again. I'll have the editor do their thing. And then every April, starting in 2023, I think. So April, I think it's around April 2023 is when book 1 will be released on Amazon in print and digital form. So like I said, I have this all planned out where it's going to take about 1 year to write and release the chapters. And then it's going to take about 18 months to write, release the chapters, do the final edits, and then put it up on Amazon. So people can read it either chapter by chapter as a serial, or they can wait and until I put it all together, and they can just buy the book. So, I'm hopefully going to be appealing to two different kinds of audiences. People who like to read something chapter by chapter, almost like it's a TV show, getting a new chapter every week, or people who want to just read the novel. And so this is going to be my basic routine from now all the way through the year 2025. So these 3 books is going to take me from the next 4 years to write and release them as serial chapters and as as a novel. If you want to, let's see if this works. I never know. I don't know if it's Substack or if it's newsletter. Okay, that clearly did not work. So let me just... Oh no, it did work. It just took a really long time. So if you want to read my chapters, you just have to sign up for my newsletter. So that's who's going to be getting it. And just to let you know, I do release 3 emails a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right now. My Monday, Wednesday emails are more for people who are writers. So it's my journey, tips and tricks I learned along the way, etc., things like that. My Friday posts is my short stories. So I still write short stories every Friday. When there's on season and off season. So right now it's an on season where from now till December 17th, I believe I will be releasing 1 short story every week. I've done 9 already. This Friday will be the 10th one. So on Fridays you get a short story from me, and then again starting June of next year, I will be increasing the amount of emails I send every week from 3 to 4, because I will be releasing my serial chapters on Sundays. So, and you can decide which emails you want and don't want. So if you don't want, the emails about my writing journey and tips and tricks and all of these things, you can just make that adjustment as you want. And if you, want that but you don't want my Friday fiction, whatever the case may be, so you're not forced into receiving all of these emails from me every week. You can totally adjust your subscription as you want, but the best way to see it, because this is going to be the only place where I'm going to be storing them, is in my Substack newsletter. And when you click on that, you can just click see it before I make a decision, and if you click that, it'll take you right to my newsletter. You can read all my previous Friday fiction stuff. None of it is hidden or anything like that. Let's see. So I can just very quickly... Yeah, so if you look, this is what my newsletter looks like. It's Substack. If you've never heard of it before, it's kind of like a combination of Patreon, Medium, your a WordPress blog, and MailChimp. So it's taking all of those things and putting it in one place. So the way that you would be able to give feedback in this instance is you would just leave a comment. Or you can just hit reply when you get the email, and then I will get it as an email. So you have either decision, either choice, but you can just come in here, and then after you've read whatever, just write a comment about what you liked and didn't like after reading it. Or if you don't want to have that comment be visible to everyone else, you can just, like I said, hit reply in the email, and I will get it emailed to me that way. But yeah, so here's all my Friday fictions. If you want to read any of my short stories, they're here. I tell you what the genre is, how long it should take you to read it in one sitting, and how many words it is. So that way you're not, assume that you can read it really quickly and you're like, oh, this is an 8-minute read. Maybe I should take a little bit longer of a break so that I can read this for 8 minutes, whatever the case may be. But yeah, so I've got all of these that I've written so far. And they're not very long. Honestly, the one that's 8 minutes is the longest. Otherwise, They're all pretty short. This one, Welcome to Calamity Island, was actually my best read one so far. And I think it's because I left it as an open ending. So I couldn't think of an ending because on Friday I was very sick. Like deathly sick. So the fact that I was able to write anything was a miracle. So I left it in the hands of the readers to say, so here's, how where I left the story. Now you get to decide what the ending is by answering a key question. And then in answering that key question, you can just leave a comment on what you think the ending is. And I got 18 likes, which again is the most likes I think I've ever gotten from anything, any of my emails, any of my newsletters, which is pretty awesome. And I also think I got the most views of it. 300, oh, it's already up to 334. It was at like 227 this morning. So in a few hours, it's increased, which is pretty good. And the post that just went out today, so if you want to know about Substack, I'm doing this like masterclass of it for fiction writers. And so it's Substack for fiction writers. And so the first week of every month, my Monday and Wednesday posts are dedicated to different aspects of Substack, how you can use it, different tips and tricks I've learned as I've been using this program, etc. Because I think it's a great thing that fiction writers can and should be using. So that's this week. So that's why the post that came out today, post/email, was how to basically set up and what to say in your about page, because every Substack that you have an about page, which, oh, I should have clicked about. So here's my about page, and all the things that I have in here. And so I'm just giving just a little bit of assistance to people who are, starting their own Substack, to say, here's what I wrote in my about page, and here's what you can do for your about page if you want. And Wednesday is going to be about sections. So each thing that you see up here, Friday Fiction, 100-word stories, My Creative View, the first edition, each one is a section. Is called a section in Substack lingo, and how you can use these different sections to your advantage. Like for me, I'm going to be using it to carve out my serial. So when my serial starts, it's going to go in here, Born from Blood, which is the name of the trilogy. And the name of the first book is Its Claws Are Sharp as Nails. So that's the name of the first book. So the first book, the 30 plus chapters, you'll be able to just click here and see them all together. But again, if you subscribe, you don't even have to come to this page. You will just get it as an email at the same time every Sunday without fail. What I do is I just schedule everything. So right now I have all of my blog posts here on the right hand side scheduled all the way through the end of the year. So December 27th. So I've already got, and the only reason I don't have January stuff here yet is because Substack only allows me to pre-schedule up to 3 months. So once I enter the month of November, I'll be able to start pre-scheduling January stuff in there, because I've already got it written and ready to go. It's just I can't schedule it because it hasn't opened those dates for me yet. But actually, no, I think it opened the dates for me now, so I can do like up to January 4th is as far as I can go. But in any event, I am going to start my work day, my official, paid 9 to 5 job. And I will be back on Wednesday to write chapter 2, which is my past timeline. So I'm going to get to talk about when my main character hears about skinwalkers for the first time, and when he has a nightmare and what that unlocks in his memory. So those are going to be the past, that's going to be the past timeline, chapter 1, technically. And with that, enjoy your Mondays, everyone. Everyone have a good start to your work week if you're starting your work week. And like I said, I will be back on Wednesday and then hopefully on Friday, depending on what's going on in the world. All right? Stop. Thanks for stopping.